Welcome to Melt. I'm Shormistha Mukherjee, co-founder at Flying Cursor Interactive and recently turned author of the book, Cancer You Picked the Wrong Girl. Yes, we're trying out something new on Melt TV, where people from the advertising and marketing industry like me are taking over as anchors of the show. Every month, you'll see a new face welcoming you to the show, and I'm honored to be the one kicking this off. So let's get to it. GroupM ESP, the entertainment, esports and sports division of media agency GroupM India, recently released the 9th edition of its Sporting Nation in the Making report. The report states that sports sponsorship in India grew a whopping 62% in 2021 to cross the 9,500 crore rupee mark. That's not just a strong bounce back from 2020, but also a 5.5% growth over the 2019 top line of 9,000 crore rupees. The growth was once again primarily driven by cricket, of course, which constitutes 88% of the industry. To know more, Anant Rangaswami, editor of Melt, is in conversation today with Vinit Karnik, head sports, entertainment and esports, GroupM South Asia. So let's get ready to melt with Vinit Karnik.
Hello Vinit, how are you?
Hi Anant, all well Anant, thanks. How are you doing? All good?
All good. So good to talk to you because now with 90% of your revenue coming up in the next few months in terms of...
Not really, but yeah, significant chunk, yeah.
Yeah, I was going through your report like I do every year, and I was hoping for the non-cricket revenue to go to 15%, 18%, 20%. That doesn't happen.
Right.
Is there any use covering other sports at all in this country?
Okay, so you have an absolutely valid point you're making, Anant, and I'm glad that you asked that question. In fact, the name of our report itself says it's Sporting Nation in the Making. So obviously, when we started off thinking about putting this together 9 years back, and this is the 9th edition, we obviously were very bullish and thinking about India becoming one of the most invincible sporting nations, considering IPL had given us such a massive headway and cricket as a sport had grown so much over the last 3 decades or so. So obviously we were all hoping that over the last 10 years, the emerging sporting economy, the way we call it, I mean the football, the kabaddi, the volleyball, badminton, table tennis, would have really catapulted. Yeah. Having said that, obviously it started happening. So if you look at some of the numbers from 2013, 2014 point of view, the emerging sporting economy was really growing very, very well. What happened, we all know in 2020, and that sort of put in a serious amount of brakes on the newer sporting landscape per se, and that's the reason you are seeing a low number on the emerging sport compared to what we ourselves have reported in 2018 and 2019. Having said that, if you take a quick sneak peek into the numbers, overall the sporting numbers are back, and we are absolutely happy to say that we have grown at a pace of 62% over 2020, and that's a very, very encouraging sign for the industry. Yes, a significant amount of chunk, as always, has come from cricket, but nonetheless we have seen kabaddi coming back, we have seen football coming back in terms of ISL, we saw volleyball league coming back, and I'm sure 2022 is the year when we are going to be seeing most of the leagues which couldn't happen because of COVID coming back in India, and that should help the numbers significantly in 2023 when we are reporting the 2022 numbers.
Okay, now a question which is a little off curriculum. Give me your comments on Baiju and the FIFA World Cup.
Okay, so great. So Anant, I haven't studied that. I've caught up the news. I'm sure you would want to know the deal size, you would want to know how many years and so on and so forth. And a lot of people have been calling us for this. I think we should be ready to give you some kind of an insight on this in the next couple of hours. So as of now, right now, we are not ready with those numbers.
Okay, now tell me, I'm never one to get excited about numbers. In principle, what do you think of the Baiju association with FIFA? What does it mean? What does it signify?
It's phenomenal, isn't it? For a brand which is going global, it very clearly says that an Indian edutech brand is going global, and that's the reason why the need of a global property. And we all know football as a sport, or FIFA as a World Cup body who runs football in the world is perhaps the most reached property from a sporting standpoint. And it's very clearly an indicator that Baiju as a edutech company from India has got global ambitions, and that's the reason why they have taken a position on such an important property, which is perhaps the biggest in the world.
I've also not got an idea of the granular details, but is it like one of those where, say, Lava Phones was a sponsor of Liverpool Football Club, for example?
Yeah, again, so as I said, we haven't studied the deal as yet. We will certainly get back to you once we are ready with this answer.
Okay, cool. So, Vinit, now tell me, going by your numbers, the future of non-cricket sports is optimism and a punt. For a marketer, is it worth getting into non-cricket sport? And if so, what kind of brands and categories should attack non-cricket sports?
Yeah, sure. So that's again a great question, and I'm a big fan of these kind of things, because we really believe that from an India perspective, we are a one sporting nation as of now. But I think from the size and scale of a country, we definitely have a massive potential to have at least two, if not three sports, which are going to be seriously growing in this country. So from that standpoint, your question is absolutely welcome, Anant. And to give you a heads up and perspective on this one, we believe that somewhere the advantage of the emerging sport, and I would bring in the gaming and the e-sport here as well, and I would call it a sport because you know that we are going to be in Asian Games this year come September. So I would consider e-sports and gaming also to be an important aspect of this question. So therefore, I think that advertisers need to look at building a sport bottom up, because when you are building a sport bottom up, you're actually considering and engaging a new fan, right? Because cricket is a mass sport in India, undoubtedly the biggest sport in India. So if you need scale and numbers, which is at a blimp overnight, cricket is a sport to go with. But if you are a young brand and targeting younger audience or younger generation, today you would want to engage with them at a much early stage. So for example, if the purse size of advertising or sponsoring a kabaddi or a football or an e-sport league today is far different than sponsoring a cricket league, isn't it? From that standpoint, I think we need to engage and build these sports bottom up, and that's the advantage marketeers can take actually from a marketing standpoint, from a consumer engagement standpoint, where they're actually investing into a completely new sport, new audience, new economy, and actually growing with the sport. So that's the way we are looking at it, and that's what we advise our clients whenever we talk about sports strategies and so on and so forth.
So, Vinit, the world over, if you look at large sports properties, if the ticket size of a sponsorship is X, brands tend to spend 1.5x, 2x, 2.5x on activities related to the sponsorship. In India, even in the IPL, we're not seeing that. There's very little that, say, the franchisees say, except for RCB or a little bit Chennai Super Kings and so on. We are not seeing brands leverage sponsorship except for the money they put on their logo and the media. How do you react to that, and what should brands be doing?
Yeah, sure. So you have a valid point, Anant. I mean, worldwide, we normally say that if you're investing $100 in investing in sponsorship, you should invest at least 100, if not more, in activating it. Yeah. See, today the activations itself world over, if you observe, has changed, right? So initially, when we used to activate, we used to look at a traditional campaign, which is print, TV, outdoor, digital. Okay. Today, if you look at India as a sponsorship market, most of the advertisers, and I would say almost to the tune of about 65 to 70%, are digital first advertisers who are, most of them are platforms themselves. Yeah. So activation from their lens is a very, very different ball game. So it's not that people are not spending on activation, they do spend on activation, but the spends are getting divided into multiple different platforms, multiple different media buckets. And that's the reason why you don't typically see a campaign of the natures that we would have seen in late 90s or in early 2000s. So yeah, I mean, we would encourage marketeers to do more, but it's not true completely that activations don't happen. Activations happen, but the fragmentation of media platforms are not able to give people the sense that the kind of money is being spent, because a significant amount of money today is spent on digital as a platform, which obviously is growing every year. So yeah, I think there is a scope, there is headroom to do more, but I would not completely agree by saying that people don't activate. People do activate. Yeah, I think there is headroom to grow.
Right. So, it's a funny market. We've got new brands coming into the sports space, especially cricket. I mean, for want of a different conversation, all sport is equal to cricket in my book. Yeah. You go back to the beginning of IPL. Brands which dominated TV at that time, say DLF and people like that, they don't even exist today. We are seeing most of the visibility going to new age companies as opposed to brick and mortar companies, shall we say digital first or tech first companies. So now all these brick and mortar companies once upon a time had the money and the need to use sports or leverage sport. Where is that money going, and where is that unmet need going?
Yeah, so it's a cyclic change, Anand. So I mean, we have also been observing that change. So today what's happening is an appetite of the new age companies who are trying to arrest the consumer mind space, or trying to create a sort of top of mind recall in the consumer mind space, are the guys who are startups. And if you look at IPL, I mean, since you keep talking about cricket and you obviously believe and cricket is the biggest sport in the country, let's talk about cricket and IPL for a minute. If you look at the 10 advertisers on cricket on ground, okay, out of which 6 to 7 of them are the startup companies. Yeah, that's what you can't take that away. And those are the guys who are pushing the envelope from a marketing standpoint harder. Yeah, and therefore are trying to create a ecosystem and want to arrest the cricket fan base, which is absolutely mass in the country. So to answer your second part of the question, where is what happens to the traditional companies? Obviously, traditional companies have moved on and trying to do multiple things from a consumer standpoint. So they are everybody is looking at their own marketing and communication strategy. Currently, sports obviously is the most attractive, because obviously we all know that sports attracts appointment viewing from day one, and that appointment viewing is something where the startup guys are feeling the need to arrest more, and therefore they've been more aggressive on the sport as a sector, I would say.
Right. Now I'll come to another part of your report, which is there's a lot of attention paid to, esports, e-gaming, and surprisingly, you got NFTs, which have found a way into it. Now, all these, do they have any meaning at the top of the funnel in your brand? Or is it all just bottom of the funnel? Because I can't see any brand activity at the top.
Sure. So if you look at, I will talk about these things in two parts. One, I'll talk about esports, and then I'll come to the blockchain, NFTs. In our mind, from a sporting standpoint, it's fan tokens, more of that. But I will come to it. So basically, we always knew that a younger age group who's a 10-year, 12-year, going up to 24 or maybe 30. Are playing games on their smartphones or consoles or whatever. We knew that already in 2017, 2018, right? So what COVID did, COVID catapulted that entire sector big time. And think that people like you and me would say, okay, perhaps people play game. We all started believing, because it started happening in our own homes, in our own neighborhoods, and it was in your face, right? So therefore, definitely it had given a big advantage to the gaming and esports as a sector. Now, if you look at numbers in the esports part, they are massive. Okay, that all sort of numbers that are floating around in the market. We just did a gaming report which we launched 10 days back, where we said that it's at 15,000 crore industry, which is quite large, right? So today you might look at it from a bottom of the funnel where advertisers are trying to test waters and experiment with that business. But we definitely believe with the kind of attention the gaming industry from worldwide has, in terms of whether it's the worldwide federations or in India, or the entrance of esports in Asian Games, Commonwealth, and hopefully Olympics, will definitely give it a huge thrust, and not only at an individual level, but at a federation level, at a government level, people will look at esports and gaming seriously, because at the end of it, you would want to win those medals going forward in the world stage. So therefore, these are multiple data points which we believe will help gaming and esports business take scale up from here. And therefore, marketeers will look at it in a more aggressive way. Today, I agree with you that it's a slow burn. People are only experimenting and scratching just the tip of the iceberg. But we definitely do believe in the next year or so, we will definitely see serious amount of investments from a marketing perspective going into gaming and esports in India. So that's one part of the question. Second part of the question, which was around blockchain and NFTs, from a sporting standpoint, I would love to use this word called fan tokens, because today if you see, fans from a cricketing perspective have grown organically over 30-35 years, right? But the newer sports, a football or a kabaddi or a volleyball or a badminton or gaming or esports, yeah, will need a lot of help from a fan engagement standpoint. And today with blockchain technology coming in, I think fan tokens becomes a fantastic tool which will make fan engagement much more robust, much more accessible, and much more compatible to engage fans with. And no sooner you will see lot of campaigns, and we are currently privy to at least 5, if not more, top companies in the country who are looking at taking serious positions and investing in fan tokens, where they believe that starting early will help them arrest that sector as well, and go closer to the fans who are eventually their consumers. So I would want to believe fan tokens is something which is here to scale up. Year and two from now, we will obviously have these answers more clarified in terms of numbers and engagement. But we are very, very excited with gaming, esports, and fan tokens as a sector going forward.
So, Vinit, in your report, I read about opportunities for sports, non-cricket sports people, and opportunities for women sports stars, in the new scheme of things. But again, do they really get the eyeballs required to make for good brand ambassadors or endorsers?
I completely agree with that point in terms of whether the non-cricketing stars do deliver value to advertisers is what you are possibly hinting at. So you look at Neeraj Chopra. I mean, the kind of campaigns that he got after winning the Olympic gold, were phenomenal. I mean, today the tally that Neeraj has in our report is about 14 to 15 brands that he's endorsed. And look at the kind of value and mileage that he has got, the clutter that he has broken over the last 7 to 8 months. I mean, we've been observing those campaigns, and some of the brands who are smartly using it. I think that's a very, very clutter breaking thing. Now, PV Sindhu, which we thought 5 years back is something who's a new kid on the block at an endorsement circuit, continues to excite advertisers, and today her tally is almost about 17 to 18 brands, which means that if there is consistency for a non-cricketing sports star over the last 4 to 5 years, and advertisers are consistently believing in marketing their products and services through these sports stars, I'm sure that's somewhere working in the minds of consumers. Otherwise, advertisers are the first ones to back out and possibly not continue those associations. So what we have seen right from the days of Mary Kom, Saina Nehwal, PV Sindhu, and now Neeraj Chopra, is somewhere advertisers are very smartly utilizing them from a campaign perspective, because they help them break the clutter. At the same time, always remember, I mean, individual sports stars worldwide are always bigger than the team sports stars. So winning an Olympic gold or winning a Commonwealth medal is absolutely well respected, and that's what brings them closer to the consumers. And I think this trend will continue, because I am a firm believer that every year we have delivered well at various different world stages. Could be Asian Games, could be Commonwealth, could be Olympic, and the medal tallies only go up, and the endorsement seen from a new age sports stars point of view will continue to grow.
Now, this is the final question, and I want you to take a deep breath before you answer it. So, the next IPL bid.
Yeah.
Give me a number. Give me a number.
Okay, so very difficult to give you a number, Anant, and I'll tell you the reason why I can't give you the number. Okay, there's number floating around in media multiple times. So unless and until we see the tender document, any number is a speculation in my mind.
Okay, that you ducked well. So let me now put you into a corner. So 2022 IPL, what will the TV revenues be? This current IPL.
So as we speak, the consolidation of various different FCTs and inventories is happening. This particular number is getting consolidated, and we should be ready in about 10 to 15 days before we are ready to talk to you on that.
Okay, forget about consolidation. Give me the GroupM number then. That you don't have to work hard.
So that's Mr. PK and Sid who will possibly help you with that.
Okay. Anyway, well ducked again. Okay, let me give you a number. I'd say 2,500 crores is GroupM in this year's IPL.
That's damn good.
Let's see what happens with that. So anyway, let's see where that holds. So thank you so much. And, I think rather than talk to you only once a year, which is what we've been doing over the last few years,
right?
We should figure out a way to talk to you mid-year also, to try and figure out any changes in the landscape that are
Absolutely. We should review this maybe mid-year, and that will help us look at how the 2022 as a year will shape up, and we can do a roundup sometime in about September, October, because that should be a good season. IPL would have been done. We will be closer to the World Cup scene, so we will have far more deeper understanding of how 2022 is shaping up. So we should do that. And thanks a lot for doing this, Anant. I mean, absolutely appreciate, and always a pleasure to talk to you, because the kind of understanding and research and deep questions that you throw on us really helps us work harder to answer your questions. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
Well, Melt will certainly be keeping a close eye on the IPL rights. With that, it's a wrap on this episode. You can follow Melt on social media. The handle is Ready to Melt, or simply log on to readytomelt.com. While you're at it, and if you'd like to, actually don't have a choice, follow me, Agent Greenglass, on Twitter and Instagram. Till next week, goodbye and thanks for watching.